Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 4, Episode 39. Huge Autel Update, Mavic 3 update. Got a lot to talk about tonight, and I mean a lot to talk about tonight. Let's see who is in so far. Got Drone Shots is here. Mr. Stephen Ewing is with us. Drone Views Media. Leonard Oglesby is in. Let's see who else we have. That's it for now. So welcome for everybody. And Stephen Ewing, a special shout out goes to you, my friend. It's 0 dark 30 and you're up watching a drone show. Our hat is off to you. Every single one of us, my friend. I salute you because I know it's, you're at 0 dark 30 there, watching us, and we appreciate it. We really appreciate it. And I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. All right. Dispense with the formalities, Bill. Okay. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Okay. I'm just, Ron's going to join us at the bottom of the hour, of course. First thing I kind of wanted to talk about just a little bit, and I don't even have a banner up for it. The GoPro Hero 10 is out. Ron did a great video on that. I highly suggest that you watch that because Ron has the 9. And he also pointed, DC Rainmaker did a great video of the GoPro Hero 10. That's another good one to watch. But watch Ron's video. If you're interested at all in this, and basically, one of the things, it really is an incremental update over the 9. Hence they have that price for $399 if you subscribe to them. So, that's just some kind of like FYI right there as far as that's concerned. It's an incremental update, guys. I mean, you're not getting a lot more than what the 9 already has to offer there. Okay. Now, okay, I'm only news and updates up because this is a news and update item and I don't have a banner for it. But okay, now you know how much I have talked about ad nauseum, and I gotta bring the daggone thing up here. Okay, all right. You know how I'm a big fan of Triple Tech. Okay, well, if you're on their website at all and you get their emails, they probably sent you an announcement about their new tablet coming out, the Triple Tech 8-inch Pro. Okay. And one of the nice things, of course, it's on a pre-sale right now. It is expensive. It is the brightest tablet on the market, 8-inch, 1200 nits display, 8 gig of RAM, 256 gig of storage, 12,200 milliamp hour battery. That's incredible. It is a 4G LTE unlocked smartphone. So you could go to like Sprint or really T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T and to get a SIM card, maybe get on a plan for about 10 or 15 bucks a month. Okay. It is waterproof, IP68. Okay. And octa-core CPU 3D ready. It also does have Android 10 on it. Now, from what I understand here, let's take a look. You can see it is a thinner design here. You could see that. Okay. And that's going to bode really well. I mean, it's a bigger one. The other previous ones were 7. This is an 8-inch. Okay. And you can see always connect to 4G LTE, GPS, Wi-Fi, NFC. And look at that, the form factor on this. That's something to really be, happy about. And you can take a look, compatible with all drones, and it is. And it runs Android 10, okay? And if you're wanting to run, like I want to do, like a screen recorder, you just download the screen recorder off of the Google Play Store, and the generic one, it works fantastic. So yeah, that's, I can't recommend this enough. When I get my bonus in November, this is going to be one of my purchases, because even though I will be getting a Mavic 3, and yes, you heard it here, I'm getting a Mavic 3. I'm highly anticipating that that's going to come with a smart controller. So this will bode well for my other drones. So this is something that I highly, highly, highly recommend. Okay. I can't recommend this enough. I'll be getting it. And when I get it, I will give you an in-depth, detailed review of this. And especially that 1200 nits, you can't beat that, especially if you live in a sunny climate like we do down here in Florida, or you're out on the beach or something, where there's going to be a lot of sunshine. So stay tuned, because as soon as I get my bonus, I'm going to be getting this. All right. Well, we got a lot of drone news. All right. Now this one, and this was drone related, so I wanted to get this in here. All right. Let me see. My mouse has been going wonky. Lauren is in the house. Welcome, Lauren. Fly Guy Merrill is here. Who else we got here? Lancaster Adventures is here. Hal 9000, Manny Navarro. Mr. Ewing is very dedicated. I like that one. And you're very dedicated too, Lauren. We have a lot of kudos for you. We don't hold those back. We don't hold kudos back. Anybody that is brave enough to watch me every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock deserves a lot of kudos. I'll tell you that. Anyway, Valerie would agree. Anyway, all right. The other thing that I wanted to kind of talk about tonight is, now, we all know what a disaster the Fimi Mini was, okay? And a sheer disaster, all right? Well, guess what Fimi is doing? They're coming out with an X8 SE 2022. How about that, okay? Now, it's out on Banggood. I brought the link up on Banggood. Now, Gunter Mathis, otherwise known as G-Man, he's put some things. He put a thing out there. I think he has a group, a Facebook page. You may want to see his post about that. I highly recommend that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few minutes to go through this. Now this is from Banggood. Now, understand the Banggood price has it at $549. Okay. Now they're going to be starting out at $399. All right. They're not going to be shipping until it looks like October is what it says out on the website. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right. Now ignore the price. Now what I want to do is go through. It's a comparison here, okay, and some of the other things. Not much has changed. All right. As far as the specs are concerned, maximum flight time, it's still 35 minutes. Wind resistance has gone to a level 5 from a level 8, so it's gone down. No. Okay, my bad. Okay, this is 2022. It's gone up to a level 8 from a level 5, so that's good. Flying limit altitude 800 meters. That doesn't mean anything to us. Operating frequency is different. 3rd gen Rocklink. It better be better than what they came out with in the 2020 version. Latency 130 ms a minute. Rainproof, moderate rain. I don't know what that means. Okay. Remote ID compatibility. It's built in. Okay, so that's a thing to note on here. Okay, it does have remote ID. For those of you that are interested, it is built into this. That's very interesting here. All right, remote control operating frequency is different here. Maximum controller distance about 10 kilometers. Okay, and they had 8,000 meters here for the 2020 version. All right, let's take a look here. Features Rocklink 10-kilometer transmission system, level 8 wind resistance, large f1.6 aperture. It's a Sony 1/2 inch 48 megapixel CMOS sensor, and you can take a look and see. I mean, it looks exactly like the 2020 version. Okay, and I think what this is they've tweaked it. All right, they've tweaked the transmission system on here, which badly needed tweaking, because as you remember with my 2020, what would happen when I flew out over that part of the lake? Boom, loss of signal, return to home would kick in. Okay, now that's, I got to give Fimi credit for that. That automatically kicks in, and that's a good thing. So you don't have to guess around with that. But I'm a little, let's just say Bill's a little skittish on this. All right, and I got to say this. With a lot of stuff coming out, and we got a lot more to talk about here tonight, okay? There's a lot of stuff coming out here. So, you need to watch your nickels and dimes. If this goes on sale, or if Fimi decides to send me a test unit, or if somebody decides to grace me with a test unit at no cost, I will gladly take it and test it. Okay. But other than that, you know, what can I say? Let me put you this way. I did my due diligence with my Fimi X8 SE 2020. As you remember, you know, my first one crapped out and they sent me a new one. And Fimi has good customer service. Okay, let's make sure that that is crystal clear here, guys, because they went the extra mile. They took excellent care of me. All right, they really did a good job with that. I was very impressed with what they did with that. So all in all, you know, it's going to start out at $399. You know, if you can grab it at $399, if you haven't had one of these before, or if you're just, you know, itching to get a new drone, you know, this is coming out in October sometime. But be mindful, okay? There's going to be lots of drones. You know, Original Dobo had a great video. The best drone of 2021 hasn't been released yet. Or a title like that, Ken. And that was a great title. Probably one of the best titles that I've seen on a video in a long time, because Ken was spot on that. Okay, the best drone of 2021 has not been released yet. We got a lot to talk about tonight. So, you know, if you have money burning holes in your pockets and you want to get this, go for it. But be forewarned, all right? I had nothing but issues with both of mine, all right? And, you know, that doggone horizon tilt followed you around like a, you know, like a bad dream or whatever, okay? That was just, you know, it's been a nightmare, and it's been a nightmare on you know, not only this, but other Fimi drones as well too. So, all right. Enough said about that, all right? What can I say? Now, again, you know, a lot of people are talking about the Hubsan Xeno Mini SE here, okay? And one of the things that I want to say is, let's see, Fimi customer care is better than Hubsan's, but that wouldn't be difficult. Drone using Mini. I agree with you 100%. I counted AK plus a quarters out of my piggy bank, waiting on the Mavic 3 Fly Guy Mirror. I like that. That's pretty good. Okay. Hubsan Xeno Mini SE. Okay. First of all, Marcus is doing due diligence with his Mini Pro, and watch his videos. He's really, God bless you, Marcus, for that. That's what I have to say. All right. And my hat's off to Marcus, because he really goes the extra mile in testing this, and it's starting to turn out to be, you know, cross your fingers on that. But I'm going to be one of those and wait until, you know, to see the proof is in the pudding here. And, you know, with the Hubsan Xeno Mini SE, there's been a lot of talk about, a lot of people asking questions about it. Is this something I should get? What do you think about this? You know, and I know Ron and I think we talked about it last week a little bit. And one of the things that I wanted to mention to everybody tonight is, you know, and Ron brought up this point, and Marcus also brought up this point too, I think a couple of weeks ago, and this bears repeating here, okay? Remember that this doesn't have all the bells and the whistles that the Mini Pro has, okay? There's no obstacle avoidance on it. You know, it's a different camera on it. You know, I think it weighs less. I'm not 100% sure on that. It does have that good battery on it. So, you know, there's a good chance that it's not going to overheat like the Mini Pro does. So, you know, again, caveat emptor, buyer beware on something like this. For me, for Hubsan right now, I need to see what other people experience and go through before I would sink my money into a Hubsan drone. Okay, that's just bottom line. And again here, and I'm gonna say this, guys. You know, if you're looking for a mini drone right now at this point in time, okay, the Mini SE by DJI, don't even hesitate a second. All right, that price is incredible. It is an incredible drone. It was fantastic for me. I absolutely loved it. fantastic, fantastic drone. Don't hesitate a second, okay? Because out of the box, I think I may have done a firmware update. Boom, no questions. It worked, okay? And here we go. And I'm hoping that the Xeno Mini SE is going to pretty much work out of the box, but I'm not real hopeful for that. All right, that's just it's just one of those things, guys. The picture on the Hubsan Xeno Mini Pro is worse than the original Mini. Way too soft. The gimbal looks like it has Parkinson's. Trophy me. Wow. Wow. I know Marcus was talking about those micro shakes in that gimbal, but wow. Here's the thing. It seemed like, when we were looking at the Fimi X8 SE 2020 and the Xeno Pro, or the Xeno 2, or maybe the Zino, it seemed like, and I remember Marcus saying, if they could swap out, if we could get the gimbal that Hubsan had with the stability, or with the camera that the Fimi had, then we'd have a good combination here. But it seems like Hubsan's gimbals are just, going all over the place. Maddie's Drone World, welcome, Maddie. Thanks for stopping by tonight. Or wait till mid-October. Tons of new drones start coming then. Lauren, you are right, and we're going to be getting to that here in just a few. I mean, it's just, one of the things here with this, with the Mini is, I'm talking about the Xeno Mini SE, is it is different than the Xeno Mini Pro. All right. And there are a number of features that aren't on there. It weighs less. The run times, I think, about the same. I'm not 100% sure as far as those specs are concerned. And, the price. Now, you can get the Mini SE DJI for $100 less than the Mini SE Hubsan, okay? Stephen Ewing, I'd suggest going for the Mini 2 if you live over here, as the power is greatly reduced. Yeah, okay. Compared to FCC output, okay. All right, that's a good point, Stephen. That's a real good point. You may want to consider the Mini 2 if you live over in Europe or in the UK. That's a good point. Thank you, Stephen, for pointing that out, because the power is reduced. So, consider that. But, that Mini 2 is still just an incredible drone. I mean, the video that you get off of that is absolutely, positively incredible. And the only thing that's still an Achilles heel to all these mini drones is the wind. Okay. It's just going to be one of those things that's always going to be there with that. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, that's just one of those things. Now, one of those things with, taking a look at the frustrations, if you want to get a real education on a drone, go out to the Xeno Mini Pro group on Facebook that I have. And you can experience, and it's good here. Okay. And this is a good thing about these groups. Okay. And, we try to police these groups. I have some great admins here who really help me on these groups, because, a lot of these groups need some babysitting, especially the larger that they get. But the Xeno Mini Pro, the two groups that I found, or the three groups that I found that don't need as much babysitting, are my two Xeno groups and my Fimi group. And they're because I get a lot of international people in there, which is fantastic. Okay. And, some great comments. And, it really kind of serves the purpose of a group, is to learn from each other and to learn about, other person's, what'd you do to correct this? And people are very amiable and cooperative in these groups. And thank you for that. And for those of you in my other groups who are cooperative and amiable and all that, my hat is off to you. It's just for there's a few bad apples in the bunch. Okay. And we try to weed them out. And when they rear their ugly heads, we address it. Okay. And you have a one strike policy. Okay. You have one strike, and then you do it again, you're gone. So that's how I operate in those groups. Okay. So Xeno Mini Pro. All right. really, if you, like I said, you want to get a real education, you go out, look at the group, you can see what frustration, and really, I would classify it as frustration for people. All right. There's been an awful lot of frustration from an awful lot of people regarding this. You know, I don't know what else to say more than that. You know, because yeah, and as Marcus said, and hey, Grumpy Vlogger, welcome. Glad to see you here tonight. Drone Master, welcome. Glad you're here, my friend. Thank you for all the Facebooks are growing well. Kudos, Bill. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all of your hard work as admin in those groups. You and Tony do, you know, 2 thumbs up. You know, and you know, I can't thank you guys enough for all the great work that you guys do on those groups. You really do. All right. Okay. Okay. There's a lot of frustration, and Marcus really kind of nailed it. When you're paying $500 for a mini drone, you expect it to work out of the box. You expect it to do what it says it's going to do in the specs. All right. And that Xeno Mini Pro has been anything but something that works out of the box. Greg Pittman, and by the way, Greg, our deepest sympathies at the loss of your mother. You know, I did see that posted out on Drone Nation, so we want to pass on our deepest sympathies to you and your family. We're good. It was good to hear that you got your replacement Xeno Mini Pro. You know, I'll be watching for when you post some things, and do post some videos out on the Xeno Mini Pro group and let us know how that's going. Hopefully, you know, you get a drone that works this time instead of the fiasco that you had the first time, which was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. Yeah. Yeah. Just ridiculous here. So yeah, so that's kind of your Hubsan update for tonight. You know, and what I'm going to tell you is this: if you really want to consider something like that, I would wait until 2022. All right. And the reason that I would suggest that you wait is you're going to let a lot of people like Marcus, who does his due diligence with the Xeno drones, gets out there and he goes through and he really works these problems out and he gets things taken care of. You know, until people like Marcus go through that and others who are dedicated to this, I would steer clear of these Hubsan mini drones for now. That's just my honest advice and my honest opinion at this point, because to not do that is just would be ridiculous. Okay. Now, yeah, big news. That's huge news. All right. Did I say huge? I meant to say huge, guys. Miguel Silva, welcome, Miguel. Hubsan does an 80% release compared to DJI, which does a 95%. Lauren, you really kind of like to nail things on the head, Lauren. You did that fantastic there. Autel news. Wow. There's so much Autel news. I could probably talk the rest of the evening. I know Ron's going to be joining me here in a few minutes. So he'll probably be joining me in the middle of this. So what I'm going to do is go over these articles that were out on Drone DJ just to kind of give you a flavor for what's going on here. All right. Now, you know, there's been quite a few leaks have come out regarding Autel. So we're going to go over, and these articles are Drone DJ, and they're out on Bill the Drone Reviewer Facebook group and page. So if you're looking to find these articles, that's where these articles are. Okay. Autel drops official teaser photo of sub 250 gram nano drone. They're calling it the nano drone. Okay. This is the first official teaser. You can see there's different colors. There's red, white, orange, and gray right here. All right. The wait will be over in a nanosecond. All right. So this is official. This is coming. Okay. It's 250 grams. There's really nothing about specs except through obstacle avoidance as a feature could be extremely useful for newcomers. First time drone users. Right now, the only sub 250 gram drone is the Xeno Mini Pro, but the company's credibility is nowhere near Autel's. Gotta love whoever wrote this article for Drone DJ. Kudos to you. All right. The Nano is a big pivot for Autel Robotics because this is the first time the drone manufacturer is venturing into the hobby drone market. And its plan to do so looks pretty solid on paper. So this is something that, having milked enough buzz from these leaks, Autel then decided to drop an official teaser photo over the weekend, confirming the Nano drone series would indeed come in 4 colors as speculated. And to confirm the name of this new drone and capture the photo with the title, "The wait will be over in a #nanosecond" here. All right. Now, let's move on. There is another article here. All right. Video shows secret Autel Evo Lite Nano mini drones in the wild. All right. And you can take a look here and see. This is one of those Autel concept drones right here. You can see here's the Nanos right here. Now there's a video here that Cedalev posted, and I'm going to let you guys watch that. Now here's the Evo Mini, and this is they're kind of talking about highly portable, smart flight features, 30 minutes in flight time, flight range 10 kilometers. Options: Evo Mini without optical avoidance, Evo Mini Plus with optical avoidance sensors. Now, they're also talking about, and then there's the Autel Evo Lite is aimed at professional content creators, aimed at the main target of the DJI Air 2S. So the maximum flight time of 40 minutes. The drone will also have 2 iterations. Autel Evo Lite with a 1/1.2-inch CMOS sensor. Autel Evo Lite Plus with a 1-inch CMOS sensor. We can expect these bright yellow birds to capture 4K video, 60 frames per second, with a host of social media-friendly smart shooting presets. Through optical avoidance should be a given. And there's also an interesting vertical shooting mode that would allow the operator to switch between horizontal and vertical angles with a single click here, okay? Again, ready for release. Couple this information. The video you've already seen above, and it would appear that Autel's new drones could be nearing release. However, given the ongoing global chip shortage, there's a possibility the product announcement may come much sooner than the actual worldwide shipping date. We'll keep you posted here, okay? Wow. Ron Brown, how are you, sir?
Hello. Is this the Autel show?
This is the Autel.
Oh, okay. I'm in the right place. Okay. Thank you.
You popped
hello,
in
Bill, and welcome everybody in the chat. Sorry. Well, I mean, my usual time here. I don't want to interrupt the show. I think Bill was reading off the specs to these new rumored Autel products.
Wow. I mean, you talk about dropping a bomb, it's just like, sometimes these bombs just, go like this. This was a nuclear explosion. All right. I don't know how else to describe this, Ron. I mean, it's like they're coming out with possibility of 3 different drones.
Has anybody ever launched 3 drones like in 1 quarter?
I don't know, Ron. And, the thing that gets me is, okay, and the Drone DJ article did say, there could be a big difference between the announcement and the actual release, okay? And we found that out with the original Evo. There was a huge gap between the announcement and the actual release. But with this, it talked about the chip shortage, all right? And how that is a possibility that may be what's driving this. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, of course, this isn't an announcement. It's a leak. So, of course, this isn't a final product. They have every right to change things that came out in this leak. But you're right, Bill. I mean, this must have been a rough morning for Frank Wang when he got up and read all the news. I mean, they're assaulting him at all levels. They're going. The Nano's going after the mini market. The late model's going after the Air 2 market. And now just when DJI is on the verge of releasing the beloved Mavic 3 with its 1-inch sensor and 8 stops of optical zoom, all of a sudden the Evo 3 is coming out with a 4/3 model. I mean, how dare they do this, Bill?
Yeah, it's just like, somebody, Frank Wang did not enjoy his Wheaties this morning. I'm going to tell you that. To find out, and I was just going to mention the Evo 3. There's talk about this. My big, I don't want to call it a concern, but my point here is, do they have the capacity to crank all of this out over at their plant over in China? That is a big question.
Yeah, they've never tried to do anything at this level before, so that doesn't mean they can't do it. But they have it's no data for us to say, oh, they've done this before that can handle this launch. That we just don't know. And you pose a big question to ramp up all these prices. Well, getting back to the things you showed, it looked like the Nano and the Air, were scheduled maybe 2 months ahead of the Evo 3, and all these drones. What's just mentioned, Bill, they're totally outdoing, say, DJI. Each of these drones has different levels. You know what I mean? I think there'd be 3 Evos, which is not uncommon. DJI's had variations in their high models, but there's going to be 2 different lights. There's going to be 2 different Nanos. I mean, how are they going to make all this stuff?
Yeah, I'm kind of scratching my head because, it lists there's a different light. There's 2 different light models. There's 2 different Nano models. And I'm sure with an Evo 3, there's probably going to be multiple models of the Evo 3 as well.
Yeah, there is a 1-inch sensor, 4/3 sensor, and another. I mean, there's at least 3 versions of that. So, hey, I'm not knocking. We all want variety, right? We all want choice.
Oh, yeah. But, and it's like, okay, and think about this, all right? You got to have a pretty big piggy bank if you want to get all these drones, all right? It's why, I was kind of prefacing, and I was talking about the disaster that Fimi is releasing, the X8 SE,
the new 2020,
the 22 version.
With remote ID built into it.
With remote ID built into it.
Even though remote ID is not finalized yet, somehow the good folks at Fimi have read the tea leaves and they know what to do ahead of time. Explain that one, Bill.
Yeah, they had they burned the bat line over to the FAA and found and got that information.
Yeah, when the red phone rings over the FAA, it's Fimi on the other end.
Yeah, it's Fimi's calling them up. And I'm shaking my head, Ron. I'm shaking my head. And the same thing here too. And I paid some due diligence and homage to Mr. Marcus Crawford for his diligence, and I mean it's diligence in testing that Mini Pro. That's what that is. That's diligence. All right. Because, both you and I, we pulled the ejection button.
And thank goodness he saved us that money, because we need to keep that capital in place for these new Autel products coming out, because, I don't want to promote Autel. I don't have stock in Autel. But it's just a little more hope that they're going to release a product that's flyable out of the box on opening day. Would you agree, Bill?
I agree 100%, Ron. It's like I said, when I got my DJI Mini SE out of the box, ready to rock and roll, charged everything up, did some initial calibrations, boom, I was good to go here. Okay. And now how many iterations of software updates has Marcus had to do for the Mini Pro to get it to where it's at? I mean, wow. And then you realize, and then you hear instances like Greg Pittman, and what happened to him. And I know he got his second one in it, and I'm hoping to hear some good news about that.
He had a real solid test flight with it. He was really happy, but at the end of his video, he said, he still said it's better, but he I think, I don't want to quote him exactly, but I think he said, but it's still not DJI.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and that's the thing, people are thinking, and Marcus had a really good point, Ron. When you're spending $500 and getting a drone, all right, you want that thing to work out of the box. All right. You don't want to you're spending that much money on a drone. You want to get quality out of that product. All right. And I know, I agree with him 100%. because, you know, I spent $299 on the DJI Mini SE, and I had quality coming out of that box, right? In their presentation in there, which one of the things that really impressed me was the presentation in that box was exactly like I would expect in, say, a Mavic 2 Pro box. All right, it was done the same way. They treated me, or they treat those customers the same, which I really like.
True. Yeah, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit here. Are these three Autel drones that are supposedly coming out? We are, again, these are just rumors. That it actually started. You're quoting the drone DJ story, and High Kessler had a good story at DroneXL also. But it all came from this guy, some Ellens. Ellens on Twitter is the guy that really broke all this. Everybody's taking Ellens's, all these little shots of his. But of these three drones that they're releasing, which one do you think will be the most important to Autel's future, or we'll say future in the next 6 months, a year? Which one do they have to get out first, and which one do they have to make sure is not only flying right, which I think it will, but it has to be priced correctly too. I think that the pricing is key, and also. And I may ask too many questions here, but I mean, like, do you think they're going to go after DJI as far as they're going to kind of present the same drone and sell for less, or they're going to give you a little bit more drone at the same price? I'm asking two different questions there, but I'll get the first one. Which of these three drones from DJI is the most? I mean, from Autel, is the most important one them to get out first and make
to get right? I'm going to say the Autel Evo Lite, okay? Because the Air 2S is one of those drones, Ron, you're going to have to pry my cold, dead hands off of it, all right? I'm going to have a very hard time parting with that drone. I mean, harder than like a Phantom 4 Pro V2.0, because that is a workhorse. That does everything, all right? And if Autel can do in this yellow Autel Evo 2 Lite version what the Air 2S does, all right? Now, the other thing for Autel, they've got to price it competitively, all right? They can't go charging $100 more than the Air 2S, all right? It has to be in the same ballpark, all right? Otherwise, people aren't even going to pay them the time of day. They're going to have to be, and the same with their, with that Nano drone. They're going to have to price it competitively to go up against DJI, because otherwise, if they're not in that ballpark, people will just walk on by them.
So price is the key, is more or just as much as features.
Yeah, I 100%, because it's that first thing that's going to draw you to that is going to be that price. Okay, and see, and here's the thing. All right, with DJI, their bar is always up here. All right, and they can set that price pretty much whatever they want, now within reason. Okay, and when you have a company, say like Hubsan with a Xeno Mini Pro, they set that price at $500, and I'm like, that was a hard pill to swallow when I made my purchase. But boy, oh boy, it was an easy pill to swallow when I said cancel that order. All right, it was real easy, because that drone is not worth $500. Okay. Yeah. Conversely, though, when you get like the Mini 2, that was worth $500 when I got the Fly More package with it. Okay, right. So that's what you run into.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've already mentioned that each of these Evo is going to have at least two different versions. Now, we'll go with the Nano, for example. Okay. Now they have a Nano that's just a plain Jane. Then they have another one that's got obstacle avoidance and maybe something else. Like the one that has obstacle avoidance is I mean, they can't price that at the same price as the the Mini 2 at $449. They're going to have to up that because of the obstacle avoidance. So, like, would you pay $100 more or $50 more for a Nano that has obstacle avoidance and everything else the DJI drone has, and maybe something else?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
But you got to figure these drones are going to be a year newer than the Mini 2. So they got to have more than just, you know, even obstacle avoidance. It's got to be something else in technology. Maybe slightly longer battery life, maybe slightly better range, maybe you know, what a slightly better camera. You know, in other words, this will come out. Who's going to come out first? The Autel Nano or the DJI Mini 3? What's going to
Okay,
get
I think
out the door
Autel's
first?
going to come out first because I think DJI and this is a great segue, Ron. And DJI is heads down on the Mavic 3. Okay, they are laser focused on this because you know that Mavic 2 Pro. You know, and somebody asked me and left a comment on last week's video, and they said, oh, I don't think it's going to be selling soon. And I said, can you tell me where you can try to find a Mavic 2 Pro brand new to buy retail right now? You can't. Okay. You may be able to try on eBay, but you're not buying from, you're buying from a reseller. Okay.
Right.
You're not buying it brand new. It's not on the shelves at Best Buy. You can't find it at Amazon. You know, it's nowhere to be found right now. Now, you know, one of the things that was interesting was Hey Kestelou, our good friend, put out a great article on this. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and share this right now. Now, you know, one of the things from this Twitter 27, and we'll go over that. Jasper Ellens is this guy's name, but we're going to go over Hay's article here. DJI Mavic 3 Pro name hinted in newly improved sketches. Okay. Now that's huge in and of itself, Ron, because, you know, a lot of people were, you know, Mavic 3, is it just going to be called DJI Mavic, or what are they going to do here? You know, they're kind of saying it's going to be DJI Mavic 3 Pro.
It makes sense. They're going to reserve the Mavic name just for this top of the line drone. It's not going to be spread over all the way down to mini drones. It makes sense. It
makes an awful lot of sense. Okay. And these new enhanced images, okay, the image also shows the air vent on top of the drone, openings needed to help cool off internal components to process the high resolution and high quality video footage. You can see not only one's crop, but the angle is slightly different, exposing, for example, the air intake on the top of the aircraft here. Seems the sketches process graphic based on a different photo than one used to create the image from Modelissimo. Furthermore, the image shows a dual camera setup, one of the two wide-angle obstacle avoidance sensors, the air intake, and the parts of the drone itself. You know, and I want to stop here for a second. These obstacle avoidance sensors, you know, and having them placed in an angle in the front of the drone, that was, whoever did that at DJI should have gotten a bonus, because, you know, they're covering the sides of the aircraft and they're covering the front of the aircraft with that. All right. That was just pure genius. I mean, in and of itself.
Probably was the same guy that angled the sensors on the Air 2S.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and it really, that those sensors do a great job. Now, you know, here's the bottom view of it, and let's take a look here, and it kind of matches. You can see some of the enhancements here on this, and then here's another bottom view compared to that one. And again, you know, these articles are all on Build a Drone Reviewer out on my Facebook group and Facebook page. But, you know, one of the other things with this, Ron, is, you know, it seems to be on a weekly basis, there's some tidbit of news coming out about the Mavic 3. All right. And what I tell people is, when you see this news starting to ramp up like it's doing right now, okay, it means a release is imminent. All right.
So have you been checking the FCC database?
Yeah, I've been out there, and I know I got a couple of my watchdogs are out there too, because you know, that's how I found out last time about, you know, like the Air 2S was coming out. Somebody pinged me and said, "Hey, Bill, it's hit the FCC database." So, you know, and that's the best thing. And unfortunately, the only way to go, you have to search for it manually. Okay, there's no algorithm you can run.
There's no Google search box in there. Yeah.
No, there's no Google search box. You just have to go at it, and it does take a lot of patience to try to find things like this. Right. But, you know, it means that this release is imminent. Now, you know, I've also had people saying, you know, oh, it's going to be next year, and I'm going to say no, because, you know, there's a number of things. You know, that biggest thing is, you know, You can't buy it on DJI's website right now. You can't get it on Amazon. You can't get it at Best Buy. You know, I don't think Walmart has it right now. You even have a tough time on eBay trying to find the Mavic 2 series right now.
Right. So what you're saying is, why would DJI give up having a drone that's $1,500 and up, not in their line for a long time? And plus, with the Mavic 2 Pro not being available, if somebody's looking for a drone in that class, they're going to say, well, I'll go buy the Evo 2 Pro instead. That's even worse. Now they're not only getting the sale, but they're driving the sale over to their competitor, which leads me to another question. Is it important that the Mavic 3 Pro debuts before the Evo 3 Pro with a 4/3 sensor, or even the one? Is it important DJI beats them out the gate?
Absolutely. They have to beat them out of the gate. Not only that, okay, and this thing needs to be flawless when it comes out. I mean, you know, maybe run a quick firmware update, calibrate the compass. You know, I do an IMU calibration, just, you know, and as Lauren has taught me to do, I do a remote controller calibration, and thank you for that, Lauren, because that's really helped. And a compass calibration, you know, after doing all those.
Speaking of that, remember the Mavic 2 Pro had a little hitch when it first was released. What was the hitch it had in the first, say, month of release? I remember.
I had the precision landing was one of them. Okay.
Right. Well, you know, it wasn't that it wasn't working. It just wasn't there.
It wasn't there. And well, you know, it's like, okay, I found that out in my very first flight. Valerie's looking, oh, it's going to land on the roof. And I'm like, oh, you know, and I took, and I got it up, and I'm like looking at her. I'm like, oh crap, this video is going to be no good. But then I realized something. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. It wasn't supposed to do that. And it hit me what was going on there. So,
right. Yeah, they took a kind of a little step back. And that's how good the Mavic Pro 1 was, that they couldn't even get all the features in the Mavic 2 Pro right away.
Yeah.
That's how great that first drone was. But I thought there was some kind of a hitch with the camera. There's some kind of thing that DJI had to correct with a software update.
There was a firmware update with the camera, and my gosh, it's been 3 years. I don't.
Yeah, I know. I'm putting you under the gun here. Remember, 3 years ago. But I'm just making a point. Even the Mavic 2 Pro had a little hitch or two out the gate or whatever. But of course, they didn't have the competition then that's here now.
Right. Now, the other thing that DJI did really well, Ron, was, I mean, I had ordered it the day of the release. You know, when I was in New York City that afternoon from the hotel room, you know, I ordered it from the comfort of my room. And what was it? 6 days later, it was up on my doorstep. And, you know, they learned their lesson from when the original Mavic Pro came out, you know, with supply and demand. You know, they added distribution centers out on the East Coast and Midwest, and they don't have that problem anymore. And this is one of the things I also think that DJI is doing right now. They're ramping up production for this. Okay, they're cranking them out, and you know, we're hearing rumors that this is going out not just one plant but multiple plants from DJI. So they're heads down on this, and I don't blame them, because this is going to be their bread and butter. This is going to be, and I think there's going to be.
So this is their Super Bowl. This is the one they gotta get right. And speaking of Super Bowls, here comes the Super Bowl champ of our show.
Hey boys, what did I miss? Can we start over?
Can we?
Well, listen, but before we start over, Drone Master has a question in the chat for Bill and me. He says, Drone Master, your estimated price of the Mavic 3 Pro, Bill, Ron, based on the new features mentioned in the leaks, and we could throw Marcus in this too on his prediction for the price of the Mavic Pro 3.
Well, let's see here. David Martin Graff says $17.99 Mavic 3 Pro.
You going with David?
I'm saying it's gonna. I'm saying you're gonna top out. It's gonna be over $2K, and you're gonna have a smart controller with it. It's just gonna break the $2K barrier.
What's that smart controller going to add to the price? That is the $2K.
I think that's going to add about maybe $400, $450 to the price.
Well, Bill, that's not kind of fair, since the Fimi 2022 will have a smart controller, and they haven't raised their prices.
Well, you know what? Who needs a controller with a Fimi? Because it's probably going to lose signal anyway.
We don't know the nits on that screen yet, but we're hoping for at least 2,000.
But all kidding aside, I do see a smart controller being bundled with the Mavic 3
So
Pro.
but you're looking $2,000 minimum.
Yeah, I think with that it'll be a $2,000 minimum, because I don't think they're going to have a regular controller like we see. Okay, they may have a standard version and they may have an upgraded version. Okay, they may have one like David Martin grabbed for $17.99 and it's just bare bones. But I think the one that's going to be over $2,000, probably maybe $2,100, I think that one's going to be a full-fledged smart controller and have all the bells and whistles with it.
I think there's going to be, I'm down with that $17.99 price. I think that sounds about spot on for the base model. I think you're going to see a controller that's similar to what we have with the Air 2S, but I suspect it will have an LCD or an LED display, with telemetry and so forth on it. And then, Bill, this is where I will 100% agree with you. No question, they'll package a new smart controller, and that will put the thing up to $2,400.
Yeah,
and that's just the base model. I guarantee you, there's going to be camera options, some different things going on.
Lauren says, "Which one, Ron? See my comment. There are 2 models." I guess he means there's 2 models of the Pro,
not including the Enterprise Edition.
I'm scrolling back to see his comment.
Mavic
3 and Mavic 3 Pro, 2 models. Okay, so I guess what we're going to say then, that the Mavic 3, just the plain Jane Mavic 3, $17.99, but the Mavic 3 Pro, we're gonna come in at what, $23.99 on that one?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, now let me.
Well, Ron, you didn't give us your opinion yet. You got to tell us. You got to throw your.
No, I did. I just that's my 2 ballparks: $17.99 for the standard Mavic 3 and $23.99 for the Pro. But what's the Autel Evo 3 Pro with the 4/3 sensor? What price is that going to be? Is that going to be more than the Mavic, the Mavic 3 Pro? More than the $23.99 with that that 4/3 sensor?
Could be.
And how big of a deal is that 4/3 sensor? I know a lot of people were disappointed that the Mavic 3 Pro did not have the 4/3 sensor. Do you think diehard Mavic 2 Pro fans that would go to the Mavic 3 will now switch to Autel to get the 4/3? Or do you think that doesn't really make much difference?
If you're a diehard Mavic 2 Pro fan, all right, and you've used that camera to its fullest extent, you're not gonna flip. You're not gonna go over there. Okay. Now, if you have your 90 in a knot and you're all uptight, then you might flip something like this. But I don't really see those who have been tried and true with the Mavic 2 Pro to flip for something like that, Ron, because I don't really in essence, okay, the people that would get gain from something like that, and I'm going to call it out, it's going to be Billy Kyle. It's going to be Ken Dono. It's going to be people like you, okay? Ones who know videography and photography inside and out and can fully utilize that to the max degree, okay? Hobbyist users, okay, and I'm going to include myself, and I think Marcus would probably join me in this as well. We're in it, for the whole shebang, okay? We see everything, okay? But for us, okay, that Mavic 2 Pro, that sensor that's on there, okay, my jaw dropped when we were still. I go to that video I shot at Reddington Beach when you were with me, Ron. Just that in the low light and what I got on that viewfinder was jaw dropping. Okay, it's still some of the best footage I've shot on that drone.
I'll go you one better, Bill. I flew the Mini SE the other day, and it's only 2.7K, and it's that little bitty sensor. And granted, like Ron reminds me of often, I fly typically midday, so low light is seldom part of my bailiwick. And I'm blown away by the video that little mini SE puts out. It just absolutely stuns me. Now, I can absolutely tell the difference. When I put my Mavic Air 2S up and I put it in 5.4K, wow, yeah, I can see a difference. But it is not, you know, a micro four thirds sensor to me is just it's just really meaningless at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know,
For me,
like, yeah, and I'm the same way. And you know, there's a select few. Okay, now, you know, I named Billy and Ken as a couple of prime examples because they do this for a living. They're earning money from this. Okay, that's part of their job. So you know, maybe that type of a sensor is going to give them that little bit of an extra oomph, okay, either in a presentation or, you know, an engineering diagram or pictures or whatever they're doing this for, okay. But for most of us, you know, it's going to be like Marcus said, you know, we won't see that type of a benefit from it. We won't. It's just not going to be there.
Absolutely.
It's going to be interesting, you know, especially now with these Autel 3 rumors that when the Mavic 3 does release the Mavic 3 Pro, I may not jump on it right away because I may want to wait and see what the specs on the Evo 3 are or whatever before I jump right in. So it's going to be I mean, you can't have too many choices, but we go into a drone period like the fourth quarter of the year. Usually, the only thing that comes out is the Mini 3, or I mean, the Mini 1, Mini 2, maybe the Mini 3. So Mini comes out, and we did have the Scudio thrown in there that one year. But usually, it's kind of a boring period, fourth quarter. But this year, the fourth quarter is going to be stacked with drones. You won't know what to buy, and even not just drones. Do you buy the Hero 10? Do you wait to see if DJI releases the Action 2? Will that have better specs than the Hero 10? There's so many, and you got new iPhones coming out. Should you upgrade? Should you not? I mean, there's so many buying decisions come up in this fourth quarter. It could drive a man crazy, Bill.
It can deplete your 401k, right, Marcus?
Oh boy, it's let me tell you, yeah.
Did the stock market recover today, Marcus?
Not much. It's been a difficult month. Let me put it to you that way.
But you know,
buy Autel stock. Then they're about to skyrocket up.
Well, I'll tell you a stock to buy. If you guys are serious and you want a stock tip right now, look at.
Is this kind of DeMarco's fearless Monday night forecast tip?
Look, yeah, it is indeed. Look at Dutch Brothers Coffee. Ticker symbol BROS.
Dutch Brothers.
It's a winner.
I like the name.
There's your stock tip of the day from Mr. Marcus Crawford.
Take it to the bank, people.
That's fantastic. That really is. I mean, you know, here's what I will say, and I said this before, and I'm not sure if I said this before Ron joined me or not, but you know, Ken Dono, I think he did a video, and I'm going to paraphrase it, Ken, so forgive me if I don't get it right. But he said the best drone in 2021 hasn't been released yet. And he's right.
And that's saying a lot because the Air 2S came out this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to take a whole lot to beat the Air 2S. And I don't mean just, you know, how about bang for the buck, though? Yeah, I mean, sure, you could throw out, you know, a big camera on a drone that costs $2,300, but can anybody beat the Air 2S bang for the buck?
Right now, that's the best drone that's come out this year. But
bang for the buck and otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. But
so,
you know.
So, well, Bill, before I just want to say that Air 2S is without a doubt the best drone I've ever owned. At full stop.
Yeah,
the best drone I've ever owned.
And I told Marcus, and I told Ron before you joined, I said, Ron, they're going to have to pry my cold dead hands off that. Okay, even more than the Phantom 4 Pro, because that it does everything, Marcus. It does absolutely everything.
And before you joined, Marcus, Bill and I were talking. Bill's interested in the Autel, the Lite model, because he kind of agrees with what I said last night. we kind of like the form factor of that drone a little bit better than the Mini or whatever. It's just a little more solid, performs a little bit better in the air. You know, it's kind of the sweet spot for Bill and I.
I got to tell you, if I get what you're saying, Ron. For me, I want to try an Autel drone. I've never tried one, and so I will describe myself as a drone enthusiast. Right, that's why I buy some things like the Hubsan drones and so forth. So yeah, that is absolutely intriguing, Ron. I'm totally on board with you.
Well, you know, for me, and I'll say this because, you know, my very first drone was an Autel, okay, X-Star Premium, and I gotta say this, and I keep telling people this, even back then, okay, their hardware was spot on, okay, that there was no issues with that hardware whatsoever, okay. It was affectionately called the Orange Pumpkin, all right, and it flew really well, and it handled really well. The big problem was the software and software updates, and just, you know, the bottom fell out of that drone as far as them trying to get software updates. And I got wind of that, and one of my good friends who's in the Central Florida, used to be called Mavic Group, he said, Bill, you need to get yourself a Mavic Pro. And that's what I did. I sold the X-Star Premium, bought the Mavic Pro, and haven't looked back.
There's still X-Star Premium owners out there. There's still touchy subject with them when you talk about them not updating the firmware. They're leaving it behind when they came out with the Evo 1. But you know what you said. I mean, you know, you have the drone, you know, and that's all true. But that was their very first drone. The Phantom 1 was DJI's first consumer drone. That wasn't perfect either.
Yeah,
a lot of issues.
Yeah, there was a lot.
So you know, I don't know if Autel's first drone was any worse than DJI's first drone.
That's a good point, Ron. It really is.
Now, gentlemen, then, you know, you talk about drone of the year, but you know, just going by the Hubsan, just going by the Xeno Mini Pro specs, it's a contender. If you just read the spec sheet, right, Marcus?
Yeah,
don't fly. If you just read the side of the box, it's a real contender.
Man, yeah.
Yeah. Right, Bill? That drone's on the side of the box is specced out like
hey,
nothing you've ever seen.
So I do have some news in that regard. I just was looking at the tracking. I'll have my new Hubsan Xeno Mini Pro this coming Friday. So
almost everybody's had better luck with their second one.
Yeah, that seems to be the case, Ron. So I've got high hopes there. Because actually mine that I have right now, it's okay.
It's doing much better, yeah.
Yeah, other than the camera. Pardon me.
Who needs a camera?
Yeah. And the obstacle avoidance.
Just strap a GoPro on it, Marcus, and fly
there
around.
You go. Well, yeah, we know a lot of people that would do that. And the obstacle avoidance is, at least for me, I've seen others have more success. But I'm telling you, on mine, as soon as I turn on that OA, it starts overheating and causes all kinds of weird problems. So
you would try the same test you did with your Mavic 2 Zoom when you went to those trees with the Xeno Mini?
Absolutely not. Well, no, hold it. Let me say this, Ron. It actually, the precision of the flying on it, it flies pretty good, and you probably could do that. But as far as the OA, you're absolutely right. I would not trust it.
Remember you did extensive test taking the Mavic 2 Zoom through all those trees and stuff?
Oh, the Zoom. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Remember you did that intensive test showing how that the sensors kind of were, you know, not as good as a Scudio, but in the same ballpark.
Yeah, and that was it because that had the APAS on it, and the Zino does not have APAS.
No,
they say that they're going to enact something similar to that.
Yeah, they were
at some point. But that APAS on and think, guys, let's think about that for a second. That Mavic 2 Zoom is now a 3-year-old drone, and it had that technology 3 years ago and worked that well. So now we're talking about all these years, 3 years later, and other manufacturers, they're not even caught up to that yet.
Right. They have the only ones that, after all this time, only Scudio and Evo 2 are ahead of them.
Yeah, exactly.
After all this time.
Yeah.
Well, time for closing statements. Go ahead, Ron.
Well, you know, this again, I can't. I said it last week, Bill, but we were just going crazy over the all the DJI Mavic 3 rumors. Now we got all the Autel. I don't even know what to say anymore, Bill. It's overwhelming. Again, and then you throw the GoPro in there, and you know, it's overwhelming. I just hope something starts coming out. You know what I mean? Like it's time something pops out, right? You know, get something out the door here.
Yeah, it really is. Marcus.
Hey, Ron. If you my new GoPro is going to be here tomorrow. If you'd have ordered one, you would have had something. Something's out the door already.
Well, I'm waiting on that that DJI Action 2. I don't want to have what you call buyer's remorse.
Because you're a smart man, Ron. That's what I'm saying. You're a smart man. Hey, so listen, what I want to get across to everybody, I went out today. I went up in the Boise foothills, had a doctor's appointment this morning, and after that, I just headed up the hill, and I had the little Fimi Mini with me, my 4th Fimi Mini, and I flew it up in the foothills. And it occurred to me that this is just one of the best times of the year to be flying a drone.
Sure is.
At least out here, the weather's starting to cool off. You know, it's still nice enough weather that you can be out there in your shirt sleeves. Get out there and, you know, fly what you got. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff coming, but get out there and fly because it's a good time of the year to be flying.
I did the same thing you did, Marcus. I was up early. I was up in the north part of Atlantic City, flying over the inlet over there, the Brigantine, and it was just a great morning. And guess what I had out? The old retired guy was out, the Mavic 2 Pro, and we keep lusting over these new drones. It wasn't a thing wrong with this thing. This thing performed just like it was brand new out there. Flew great, took super video. Everything was just superb about it, you know. So, I mean, I don't even really need any of these new drones. This guy's got a lot of life left in him.
That's a great point.
You brought up a great point, Ron, and I agree. And you know, it's like you know, on top of everything, and this was before Ron even joined me. Triple Tech's coming out with a brand new tablet, an 8-inch, and it's thinner.
Another something to buy.
And yeah, and well, that's on my list. And you know, I got to think that Autel and DJI and Triple Tech know when I get my Christmas bonus, because my Christmas bonus comes in November. Okay, so I think there's going to be some releases coming up, and my bonus is going to be depleted rather in a large manner of speaking. But it's exciting. Okay. And one of the things that I think is really exciting, it's just more like Ron mentioned, it's not just a mini, okay? And it's not just maybe a gimbal, but we have some real, you know, concrete things coming up for us as far as that's concerned. Go ahead, Marcus.
No, I just was agreeing with you.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. We got some good stuff on the horizon.
Yeah, and you know, and like I said, you're going to see a lot of these releases. You know, if I were to predict anything, okay, the Mavic 3 is going to come next month. Okay, it's going to be an October drone. I think that Nano is probably going to hit sometime in October as well. You may see that Autel Lite hit sometime in November. It's all going to happen before Black Friday. I can tell you that's probably a given, because for it to be in the hands of big box stores like Best Buy and Amazon and other distributors and Walmart, they're going to have to get that inventory to them in time. And the only way they'll do that is to do these releases over the month of October and the beginning of November. So stay tuned, boys and girls.
Get your piggy banks ready.
It's going to be a wonderful ride here these last 3 months of the year. And I got to echo what both Marcus and Ron had said. You know, it's even in Florida. It's starting to cool off. Instead of hitting the 90s, it's in the 80s. Okay. Still that doggone late afternoon thunder shower that just, you know, throws a kink into plans for the evening. But during the day, it's been fantastic. It's really starting to make a difference as far as that's concerned. Get out and enjoy what you have right now. Okay. Absolutely do that, because, you know, like Ron said, that Mavic 2 Pro, it's still a great drone. If you have it, go out there and fly it. That's what I can tell you. I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. And again, and I'm sorry if I'm harping on this. I got to commend those of you who are up late watching us overseas. And I know Mr. Stephen Ewing is in the chat. And kudos to you, my friend. You do this week in and week out. My hat is definitely off to you as far as that's concerned. It's been a great week. Lots of news, lots more coming up. So stay tuned. We'll make sure you watch all the other drone shows out there. Okay, starting with Drone Nation on Monday night. Mikey's on after us. Bill Thomas is on Wednesday. Ken Dono is on Wednesday. Ken Herron is on Thursday. Who's the one that has a Friday night show?
Fly Zone.
Fly Zone. Yeah,
don't
those
forget
guys.
Captain Ray and
Captain Ray.
Their show on Wednesdays. Yeah.
And Johnny on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Art on Saturdays. And Lloyd and I think Mel did. I think they're still on Sundays. So tune into these shows. There's a lot of great information coming out. Thanks so much, and as always, it's a great day to fly, guys.